All right, so you recently presented your Saving the American Dream bill. Tell us a little bit more about it and what kind of impact you expect it to make for Americans if it gets passed, if it gets passed as law.
I introduced the Saving the American Dream Plan because I recognize the federal government's almost $16 trillion in debt. And Americans are concerned about that, understandably. And so it takes us from a position of having an annual deficit of about $1.3 trillion to a deficit of zero over a period of about 5 years. And at the same time that it does that, it shores up our social safety net to make sure that it's there for those who need it when they need it. It also reforms our healthcare system in a way that puts Americans and their doctors back in charge of their own healthcare decisions rather than having those decided by a government bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. It calls for massive regulatory reforms to put Congress back in the position of being lawmaker instead of having much of our lawmaking outsourced to executive branch agencies. Puts Americans back in charge of their own destiny and makes it possible for Americans to plan ahead and to prepare their own tax returns with one simple rate. At the individual level, it would be one simple rate with the target rate of 25%. One rate, 2 credits, 3 deductions. It's that simple.
Now, speaking of health care, the Obamacare may get struck down on Thursday by the Supreme Court. Do you have any contingency plans in the Senate, or have you worked with any other senators as far as maybe proposing something comparable, not comparable to it, but better than the Obamacare? Because we're going to need something moving forward.
Well, the first thing we need to remember when talking about the possible demise of the Affordable Care Act is that we can't repeat the same mistake that Congress made last time, assuming that we can take a piece of legislation, 2,700 pages long or of any other comparable length, ram it through Congress without even giving members of Congress an adequate time to review it, and then expect that things will turn out right. We need to take step-by-step We need to take a step-by-step approach, one that moves us carefully and steadily in the right direction, and that gives Americans an ample opportunity to weigh in on decisions that are being made on their behalf. But yeah, I think there are a lot of things that we can do. I think among other things, we can change our tax laws to make it so that Americans can choose their own health insurance rather than having it chosen for them, either by government or by their employer.